Hi, I'm Brian Chain.
And I'm Dries van der Walt.
And today we're looking at the Triumph Bonneville T120.
This is a spiritual successor of the Triumph Bonneville T120 of the early 1960s. And it's part of Triumph's Bonneville series, which dates back to 1959. And the series has been in production pretty much continuously ever since. The current series includes this bike, the Street Twin, and also the Triumph Thruxton R, the winner of the 2016 Pirelli Bike of the Year competition. Despite the modern under-trimmings, the bike has a beautiful retro look to it. And it starts with a rear suspension with the old school twin shock absorbers with their exposed coil springs. Now in terms of handling, that's perfectly adequate as long as you don't put unreasonable demands on the suspension, such as when you're racing a toddler on a tricycle, for instance. Beyond that, I wouldn't recommend taking on the super bikes in the twisties with a Bonneville. Going further in terms of the retro appearance, the beautiful pea shooter style exhaust straight out of the 1960s. So it does have this beautiful old school air-cooled British twin type of look to it, but placed on a thoroughly modern platform.
As a photographer, I'm a sucker for detail, and this bike has got oodles of it. There's white ribbing on the seat, there's these tank pads here, straight from the 1970s. The attention to detail, even on things like the fuel cap with the logos on it, there is just so much detail on this bike to take in, and hopelessly too many to describe in this short video. I've ridden 3 Bonnevilles over the last couple of months. The first was the Triumph Thruxton R. Second one was the 900 Bonneville, the Street Twin, and then this one. What I did find that on the Thruxton R, the traction control was a lot more intrusive than on this one. I found myself bogging down at lights, whereas with this one, you pull away and the bike just goes.
I was quite frankly surprised by the physical size of the bike. It is positively diminutive for a 1200cc motorcycle. In fact, when I saw it the first time, it looked more like the old 650s than like a modern 1200. Beyond that, the distance between the seat and the foot pegs and the seat and the handlebars are just about tailor-made for my 1.78 meter frame. So for me, this is a really comfortable machine to ride.
So we're both impressed with the retro look of this motorcycle, but would you actually consider buying one of these?
Well, the fact is that it's horses for courses, and it depends on what you want to use the bike for. If I were to buy a bike that I would use for commuting and some long distance riding, not massively because of its lack of weather protection, then definitely. I love the retro look, I love the feel of this bike. It's one of the few bikes that actually feels as retro as it looks. Well, and there you have it. The Triumph Bonneville is a specialized bike on one hand, but at the same time it is actually a really accessible machine. It's very practical. So if you're looking for a bike that can function as a good commuter, as a long distance bike, and has a little bit of je ne sais quoi to it, this might just be the one to look at.